Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me, Mark Robertson, again today, and I'm sorry about not getting a second video up last week or earlier this week. I've just been really swamped with school and work, but I'm back and ready to talk about more basketball. I had another question on Twitter about my draft choices and why I would choose them, and also on a different note, I'm gonna do this and another part of the video. The other part of the second part of the video is going to be my thoughts on how Georgios Papagiannis is doing so far this season, and if he's gonna how I feel about him and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get to it. Draft choices. Right now, the Kings are set to have the 7th and the 10th choice. The 10th choice being the almost out of the top 10 uh, Pelicans, which it's annoying because after the Pelicans had beat Dallas in that really close 118 to 121 game, uh, they went above Dallas. Technically in the standings. In the reverse standings, Dallas went below, which kind of spreads out the picks a little bit more, but it still keeps the Kings very valuable in the draft. But yeah, let's just go into it. In my opinion, the Kings need to come out of this draft with a solid point guard and a solid wing player. That's honestly that's all the team needs. We finally have Buddy. We finally have a good shooting guard in Buddy Hield. He'll definitely be the future shooting guard of the Kings. He's not. There's not really much more. Like, we'll have a good backup in Malachi once he gets back and gets back on his feet and gets moving and stuff like that. Um, but yeah, so for point guards in the upcoming time set, unless the Kings somehow move up in the draft, like if Rudy decides to stay or we decide that it's time to move on from Kufis, and I'll say why I feel like they can move on from Kufis later on in the video. But Kufis or Rudy could be used to move up or stuff like that. We're only going to have really 3 good options at point, which 3 out of the 5 is always pretty damn good to have when it comes to options for point guards. Because out of the 5 elite point guards this year, there's Markelle Fultz, Lonzo Ball, Frank Nenatilla, who's Frank the Frenchman, who I keep calling the Frenchman because that's what I hear everybody calling him. De'Aaron Fox and Dennis Smith Jr. Those are the 5, which that makes 5 out of the 10 top players in this draft, which gives us 50-50 chance, or what is that? You get 5, so that's 50%, and then we have 2, so that's like gives the Kings like 30, 20, it's like 25 to 30% chance of getting a good point guard, which I don't think all 5 of them are going to go to the top 5, so I think we're good. Because I don't think the Kings even if the season ended, like, even though we're currently the 7th, I think the Kings are going to start, like, they're going to take the loss probably going to take the loss against DeMarcus and the Pelicans and upcoming, and Minnesota, hopefully. I want Minnesota to keep moving up. If Minnesota and Dallas can somehow beat out the Pelicans and we could just keep those spots, that would be great. That would be number one, unless somehow the draft gods are with us and we get the Sixers go in the top 3 and the Kings get the 4 and the 5, which most likely won't happen. Doesn't ever happen. I don't remember the last time the Kings got a top 5 pick. You know what his name was? DeMarcus Cousins. So there's that. But yeah, so the only 3 point guards we'll really have a chance at is Dennis Smith Jr., Frank Natili, and De'Aaron Fox. And I think, honestly, Frank will probably go 6, and we'll have either Fox or Dennis Smith. Now, the real question about this is, we could try to get someone in the 2nd round that's a wing player, or they can go for one of these higher tier wing players, which I totally think the Kings should go for a higher tier wing player. It's not It's not me saying I don't want a higher tier. It's me saying, well, maybe if they try to go for not trying to sign a point guard, and if they can't get a good point guard, or if like they can't have significant point guards giving them interest looks, um, before the draft, then they could always just draft 2 point guards. They could just have a point guard and a six man. So you could easily, if Dennis Smith, because I feel like Dennis Smith is going to be that kind of guy that might drop to 10, which would be kind of cool if we can get De'Aaron Fox and Dennis Smith. But I think there's other players like wing players that we would like more likely. My choice between the final two, if Frank goes at 6 and if we end up with a 7th pick, you get De'Aaron Fox. I know Smith is very athletic, can get to the basket very easily, but he doesn't really have a good shooting to him. Like, he can get to the basket really easily like Rondo can, but like Rondo, he's not the best shooter. Like Rondo's not even a good shooter to start with. But like De'Aaron Fox dropped 39 on UCLA. I know that they lost to NC State, UNC, which made me so mad. I thought for sure Kentucky would have beat UNC, so it completely destroyed my bracket. But hey, gonna be watching that Oregon game on Saturday. So go Ducks. So yeah, Fox is gonna bring that athleticism. He's like Dennis Smith, but can shoot the three. Shoots a better percentage than Dennis Smith. Can definitely get those big numbers. He can. I know everyone says he's gonna be like a Russell Westbrook, how he just leads the team and nobody else gets any points. No, Fox is gonna pass. Fox is gonna be a good passer. Like, he's gonna be someone that will come in, be able to get steals, be able to get pretty good rebounds, pretty good assists, but will definitely be able to score the basket easily. So yeah, Fox would be my choice for point guards overall. If one of the top two somehow fell to our position, obviously we take one of those two. It'd be funny to watch Lonzo come to Sacramento. And then wing players. Let's go through the wing players that will be semi-available at this point. Obviously, Jason Tatum will probably go 4 to Orlando if Orlando still keeps that spot because they don't really have a small forward set in the mix. So there's that. But Jason Tatum can still be a possible look at for the Kings. Jonathan Isaac could be a lookout for the Kings. He played really good at Florida State. Definitely probably going to be a really good, long, athletic player at the wing position. He's definitely going to be playing the wing and probably stretch 4 as well. So there's that. Justin Jackson, UNC. Don't like that team, but like Justin Jackson. He was set to come last year, and he decided to scratch his name off he was in the combine, and he just scratched his name off and went back to UNC for one more year, which was good because at UNC last year he could not shoot the 3 at all. He could not shoot spot up threes. This year he can, and that's what is a really big part of this. So I see him being a possible choice for the wing player for the Kings. And then OG Anuoburi. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. OGA from Indiana. I was watching a video on him and watching film on him. Oh my goodness. He would be another great wing player to bring to the Kings. His style is so fast. He gets bored so easily. He had 2.3 blocks and 2.3 steals this last year. His defense is great. His threes look pretty phenomenal. Him getting the basket and getting boards and getting putbacks looks great. So he could be honestly a workout look at would be OG, Tatum, Isaac, and Jackson. I'm just gonna cross uh, Tatum right off the list because I don't think Tatum is going to be anywhere near in our possessionable touch. Out of OG, Jackson, and Isaac, I'm gonna say probably. See, at this point, it's probably gonna go. We choose our point guard, and then Isaac will be taken either by Minnesota or the Mavericks. So, I think probably. Oh, I would see Isaac going to. Oh, because Arizona has that big man that would probably be a good person to put next to Towns. I don't know. I could see Isaac going to the T Wolves and playing point or power forward. Honestly, he builds up enough muscle he could play power forward. So I think he'll be gone. So I'm gonna say either Jackson or OG. It'd probably be Jackson. Jackson has just looked great, looked very good. So there's that. Um, going on to the second round picks. I only chose one of them because I don't really know a lot about the second round. I know we have two second round picks that are one and then a pick and then one after another. I think it's like, isn't it like 34 and 36? I think it is. And a big target that I think they need to work out, Jordan Bell out of Oregon. This is no bias at all. He is phenomenal at defense and has a potential fantastic offense. He would be great to like if Scal ended up being our starting, either being our starting power forward or starting center, and then we would have Willie either power forward or center, obviously, and then uh, Papagiannis as the backup center. Jordan Bell would be a great backup power forward. He would like if they decided that if we used one more year, so if they had one more year of Tolliver and then had Jordan Bell be off the bench at the third string power forward and still gave him hopefully a little good amount of time, maybe send him down to the D League and give him some of that time just to like work things out, like how Malachi, Papagiannis, and Scal were all down there. And I think this last year for D League, it's been great. Like all three of them got really good experience, and all three of them came up and showed what they can do. Except for Malachi, obviously Malachi needed a little bit more time, and obviously this his injury didn't really give him that. So we'll see more of him during like off season and spring in training camp and summer league and stuff like that. But yeah, there's that. Now we're gonna move on to the Papagiannis section. Like I said, I really do think Papagiannis is going to be a very good bench player. I know he said in an interview that he really wants to be the starting center for the Kings. It's kind of hard to say that now that we've seen what Scal can do and what Willie can really do. Willie is really a facilitator. That's what Willie is. Really, Willie is going to be a double facilitator. Like he will get his own baskets from the pick and rolls and get garbage baskets from rebounds and get that double. But he'll also average like 5 assists. I've seen him like go off on people. Like some of these, he had that like turnaround one. Was it against the Grizzlies? He had that spin around one and passed to Kufis, and Kufis got the dunk. That looked phenomenal as a young passer. So there's that. We've seen those multiple double-digit scoring games and double-digit rebound games, including the one against OKC for the 14 points and 11 rebounds from Papagiannis. That's good to see out of young players. That we saw the 32 and 11 from Scal. It's good to see 14 and 11 from a guy that we weren't that we all thought was like just a really odd pick for the 13th pick, but that's really good. That means he's not going to be a bust. There's no way somebody that scores 11 points and gets 11 rebounds is a bust. There's no way. So, yeah, I honestly think in the long run, he will be a much better offense bench playing Costa Kufis. I think that's funny to say because we still have Costa Kufis, but that's what honestly, he's going to be a better Costa Kufis. He's going to be a better Greek big man that's going to come off the bench and be just very good, productive off the bench, which we need. We need a good, deep bench. So there's that. So yeah. Now on to my picks for tomorrow. George Hill, or not George Hill, Paul George, Isaiah Thomas, and they're fighting for their first seed. I know that they had lost to the Bucks, but the Bulls swept the Cavs, which is crazy because they don't have Wade. So they swept the Cavs, and the Cavs choked when they were in the first seed, and now it only takes one night to go from the first seed to the second seed back to the first seed for the Boston Celtics. So there you go. And then I just had to put this in there because it's going to be his first game back, or his first game against his old team. I think DeMarcus is going to probably have a phenomenal game against the Kings because from how it sounds like, the Kings are really just going to go into full tank mode now. Because from what it looked like, they didn't want to bring Ben back out on the court against the Jazz. They didn't want to put. They wanted to switch Papagiannis in more for Willie, so that it gave people more equal time. But at the same time, we weren't producing as much, which made it so it was still a losable game. So there's that. So yeah, thank you guys for all your questions. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit the dunk on the like button, and make sure to also leave more questions in the comments, or hit me up on Twitter for any questions that you have, and I'll try to put them in my videos or answer them right on the spot for you guys. And yeah, make sure to hit the subscribe button for more basketball content, and I will see you all later, Hoop fans.